The world observed Chrisean Rock's descent into anarchy. It's complete with heartbreak, arrests, and a poisonous relationship that left followers doubting her every action. But she's back now. Chrisean is prepared to come clean after being released from prison and entering the light. In her first interview after her release, she candidly discusses her journey from darkness to redemption, announcing, "I'm embracing purity," she says. What does that actually mean, though? Is this merely another stage in her erratic existence? Or is this a true transformation? The story you're about to hear will make you wonder about everything. So pay attention. Chrisean Rock's life has been filled with drama and controversy. She has been in the news a lot because of her turbulent relationship with rapper Blueface and her numerous legal troubles. However, there is a woman looking for direction and meaning beneath the mayhem. Chrisean is committed to changing her life after spending time in an Oklahoma jail on drug-related charges. She talks candidly about her past errors and the lessons she's learned in her first interview after being freed. She acknowledges, "I've been through a lot, but I'm ready to move forward and embrace a new path." When Chrisean shares the moment that transformed her life, the interview takes a tragic turn as she remembers, "I was sitting in that cell alone." She cries as she recounts the tremendous sense of clarity that overcame her. "And I realized I couldn't keep living the way I was." Her path to atonement begins when she realizes, "I knew I had to make a change, not just for me, but for my son." Chrisean goes into greater detail about her battles with addiction and the poisonous relationships that have harmed her life as the interview goes on. She talks candidly about her struggle with substance misuse and the negative effects it had on her physical and emotional well-being. "I was lost," she admits, "but I'm finding my way back." Her candor and openness strike a chord with viewers, evoking a surge of affection and sympathy. Social media has been rocked by the interview, with both celebs and fans showing their support for Chrisean's quest. "So proud of you," writes Pretty V, a comedian. At @mborloaded, an Instagram user adds, "Your growth is inspiring." Even Blueface's parents have expressed their support, with his father organizing a birthday party for Chrisean Jr., but not everybody is persuaded. Critics contend that Chrisean's prior behavior is too harmful to ignore. However, Chrisean is overwhelmed by the support. She says, "I feel loved." In an emotionally charged voice, Chrisean reveals a shocking revelation just as the interviews seem to be coming to an end. She teases, "I'm working on something big." The journalist asks her for specifics, but she stays silent, leaving viewers on the edge of their seats. Something that will change everything. What might this new endeavor be? One thing is certain, Chrisean Rock is far from finished, but only time will tell. Chrisean Rock wants you to be a part of her adventure, which is just getting started. To keep up with her most recent endeavors and personal development, follow her on social media. What do you think of Chrisean's change? Please share your opinions and encouragement in the comments section below. To ensure you never miss an update, remember to hit the notification bell, like, and subscribe. And keep an eye out because Chrisean's story is about to take a new turn. Although Chrisean Rock's name has come to represent controversy, there is a tale of a young woman struggling to take back her life that lies behind the tabloids. Chrisean has lived her life in the spotlight due to her close relationship with rapper Blueface, her struggles with addiction, and her high-profile arrests. We see a different side of her today, though. The lady who always appeared to be in the center of trouble, Chrisean Rock, is now at a turning point in her life and needs to choose who she really wants to be. There were many unexpected bends and twists on the long and dangerous journey that brought her here. Her relationship with Blueface, a toxic, intermittent affair that enthralled both fans and critics, was the beginning of it all. Their love journey was an emotional roller coaster, filled with tragic betrayals and public altercations. Every disagreement, kiss, and tearful apology was followed by fans who always hoped for a happy ending. However, it was evident behind the scenes that this was an unstable partnership, with both Chrisean and Blueface continuing to engage in destructive behavior. When Chrisean ran afoul of the law, the drama escalated. The downhill spiral seems inevitable after several arrests. In a startling turn of events, she found herself in a risky position combining booze and drugs. What had begun as a fast-paced relationship had turned into a nightmare of court cases, loss, and public humiliation. However, something inside of her altered while she was incarcerated. In the interview, Chrisean says, "I had to face the reality of my choices. Jail is more than just a place of punishment. You may truly examine yourself there and question, who am I really?" The burden of her previous choices still weighed heavily on her heart. But it was in these quiet times that Chrisean started to see the potential for change. However, it was more than simply her. The notion of her son, Chrisean Jr., kept Chrisean going, and she has always been extremely protective of him. Her confession is, "I want him to see that you can come from the darkest place and still find your way." Her kid, who was raised in a turbulent and dramatic environment, served as the impetus for her transformation. There was a lot of confusion in the initial days following her release from prison. The world was waiting for her to ascend after. Seeing her decline from grace, Chrisean was going to disprove them. She explains, "I knew it wasn't going to be easy. However, I was aware that my current self differs from the person I was in the past. I'm not looking back, and I'm embracing purity." Her initial public acts of atonement were well planned, surrounding herself with individuals who truly cared about her. She made contact with her mentors, friends, and family. She says, "I needed to rebuild, but I couldn't do it alone. I had to learn how to say no to the things that kept me in that toxic place and surround myself with positive energy." However, the internet prevented her from forgetting her past, even as she made efforts to start again. Her sincerity was questioned by former friends, social media trolls, and even some family members. Was it merely a phase or a true transformation? Chrisean, meanwhile, wasn't concerned about the critics. She assertively says, "I'm doing this for myself, and that's all that matters." The question of whether is the start of Chrisean Rock's real metamorphosis, or merely another phase in her turbulent journey, still stands as the world watches to see what she does next. The twists are far from over. So stay tuned. The tension in the room is evident as Chrisean Rock sits down for her first interview since being released from prison. Her journey hasn't been an easy one. As the interviewer leans in to delve deeply into her past, the sinister secrets she has hardly discussed in public, the air brims with excitement. Although fans have been waiting for the truth, the drama will reach a new height with what they learn next. Chrisean begins the interview carefully, discussing her experience in prison and the epiphanies that altered her viewpoint. She describes how her seclusion gave her the opportunity to think and, at last, connect with the lady she had always envisioned herself as. However, the composed exterior starts to break when the topic of her connection with Blueface comes up. Her voice cracks a little as she says, "I thought I was in love." The anguish in her eyes is more than simply sadness. It's the recognition that the relationship was based on poisonous behavior, jealousy, and manipulation. "But looking back, I see how much damage we both did to each other." Chrisean confesses, her words lingering in the air, "I wasn't just in love with him, I was addicted to the chaos." The interview then takes an unexpected turn. The journalist questions her about the rumors that were going around while she was incarcerated, including those concerning a phone call, a hidden message, and an affair. Chrisean shifts uneasily in her seat, her face going white. She seemed to be about to shut down for a second, but then her eyes hardened. The atmosphere in the room gets intolerable as she leans forward and looks directly into the interviewer's eyes. Chrisean's voice is now forceful as she says, "I need to tell you something. The world is unaware that Blueface wasn't the only person who reached out to me while I was incarcerated." The interviewer enlarges his eyes. At home, the audience waits to see what will happen next. Chrisean's hands shake a little as she inhales deeply. "I received messages. It came from someone I believed to be my buddy, not from him. Someone I had faith in. Chrisean is at risk for the first time. She acknowledges that a close confidant she had known for years betrayed her while she was incarcerated. She claims, "I thought they were my support system. However, they abandoned me when I most needed them." The twist gets more complex as Chrisean talks about this betrayal. She admits, "I discovered that they had been speaking to Blueface behind my back. In addition, there had been information about things I had said privately and that I never wanted other people to know." It's a powerful realization. This is about betrayal from someone Chrisean had thought of as a close friend, not just a bad relationship. How could someone who said she had her back turn against her at her most vulnerable time? The audience is in disbelief. However, the treachery doesn't end there. Chrisean continues by saying that Blueface further manipulated her while she was in prison by using the information he got from her friend. "From prison, he attempted to manipulate me," she comments resentfully. "It felt like I was never truly free." Chrisean's shocking revelation that this person wasn't just a friend to me heightens the situation. "I believed I could put my life in their hands." Her voice is unmistakably angry, and the wrath that had been building within her finally explodes. "And now I find out that they were using me for their own personal gain." Viewers start to understand the extent of the network of treachery as she shares more about the deceptive talks and the emotional upheaval she experienced. In addition to attempting to manipulate Chrisean, the individual who had been providing Blueface with information was also working to ruin her life from the inside out. What Chrisean says next, however, is much more startling. She mumbles, "They have betrayed others besides me. Some people have been kept in the dark and aren't even aware of the reality of what has been happening." The interviewer looks at her, uncertain of what to say next, and the room goes quiet. The impact of Chrisean's remarks is still felt. The viewers at home are left wondering, has this individual deceived anyone else? What more is Chrisean concealing? Fans are glued to their chairs, wanting to find out more after the cliffhanger. This goes beyond a prison term or a poisonous relationship. It concerns Chrisean Rock's profound betrayal, which came from those closest to her, and viewers are left wondering about everything as the interview goes on. Who was it that Chrisean had such faith in? In the upcoming weeks, what additional secrets will come to light? Chrisean is obviously prepared to reveal every last detail of the drama, which is only just getting started. The emotional intensity increases as the interview goes on. The frail lady who sat in prison and thought about her. Eris is no longer Chrisean Rock. She has changed into a lady who is willing to tell the truth, even if it means hurting someone. And the betrayal that rocked her to her core would soon be revealed to the world. She takes a deep breath and narrows her eyes as she leans forward. As she says, "This betrayal didn't just affect me. It affected everyone around me." Her voice quivers with anger and shock. You think you know someone, you trust them, and they turn around and use everything you've ever shared against you. Who exactly are you talking about? Who betrayed you like this? The interviewer asks, obviously. Shocked. Chris, EAN, pauses for an instant. The audience tense in their chairs. Then, abruptly changing her tone, she delivers the name that will rock the entertainment industry as a whole. It was Sister. The interviewer fumbles over their words since the discovery is so shocking. Your sister. You're saying family? Betrayed you. Chrisean responds, yes, as the tears that threaten to spill finally do so. I never thought it would be her. But she knew everything, every weakness, every secret, and she used it all. She fed Blueface everything I said about my personal struggles, my fears, everything. There is an overwhelming quiet in the room as they take in the seriousness of what Chrisean has just disclosed. Viewers are struck speechless. When she was at her lowest, a family member she had complete faith in had abandoned her. As Chrisean describes what happened before the betrayal, her voice falters. I was already going through hell with Blueface. We were fighting, I was in jail, and I was struggling. And my sister, someone who I thought would always have my back, was talking behind my back, feeding him everything she knew. The room becomes eerily cold due to the intensity of her statements. She wasn't just betraying me. She was betraying everything I stood for. She knew how much I loved my son, and she still did this. Chrisean divulges additional information. During the conversation, each one more astounding than the one before. My sister didn't just talk to Blueface behind my back. She was trying to take advantage of my situation. She was trying to capitalize on my downfall, using my pain to fuel her own agenda. As Chrisean explains how her sister contacted the media and gave them untrue information about her, the betrayal becomes even apparent. Chrisean wipes away his emotions as he continues. She painted me as this villain she didn't care about me. She cared about getting her 15 minutes of fame. Why would she do that? What was her motive? It's the question that everyone is asking, and the interviewer is unable to avoid asking it. Chrisean gives a disbelieving shake of her head. I don't even know anymore. I thought I knew my sister. I thought she cared about me. But now I see she was just using me, just like Blueface did. The mood of the room changes at this point. What started out as an interview about self-improvement and repentance has evolved into a full-fledged admission of Chrisean's evil side, which includes deception, betrayal, and family. Both at home and in the room, the audience are riveted to the screen, eager to see what will happen next. The twists don't end there, though. Chrisean makes another shocking revelation. As she replies, "It wasn't just my sister, though. Her voice breaks beneath the intensity of her statement. There's more. There's someone else I trusted, someone I thought I could rely on." She is pressed by the interrogator to identify the individual. "You'll find out soon enough. All I can say is that the people who I thought were there for me were the ones who caused me the most pain." Is Chrisean's cryptic response? But he's always the master of suspense. The pace at which the drama is developing is concerning. Her sister first, and now someone else, someone Chrisean hasn't yet named. Who else in her life has betrayed her? It's the question that the spectator is left wondering. What additional secrets does she conceal? Chrisean leaves viewers with more questions than answers as the interview comes to a close. But she does hint at what she plans to do next. "I'm not done. It's not by a long shot. You haven't seen the real Chrisean Rock yet. The real me is coming, and it's going to be a whole new story." You can almost feel the tension in the room since it is so thick. Chrisean gets up, leaves the interviewer stunned, and leaves the set with a single tear still streaming down her cheek. The audience are left to consider what they have just seen as the screen goes black. Chrisean Rock's shocking interview has left the aftermath in a state of complete chaos. Fans, celebrities, and critics have all weighed in on the surprising disclosures, causing social media to go into a frenzy. The globe appears to be split. While some people are supporting Chrisean and praising her for her courage and integrity, others are doubting the veracity of her statements in ways no one could have predicted. The drama surrounding her first interview, since being released from prison, has captured the attention of the internet. Fans are voicing their support for Chrisean on Twitter. Words of support from people from all walks of life soon make the hashtag Chrisean Rock Redemption a popular topic. One tweet says Chrisean Rock is a real one for coming out and speaking the truth. Although everyone makes errors, she is making an effort to change her life. Show respect. However, not everyone is embracing the change. Critics quickly bring up Chrisean's previous actions, with many asserting that her story is only an effort to maintain her notoriety. Is it only a publicity trick, or is she genuinely attempting to change? A user on Instagram writes, "Which is not the first time it has happened." Don't be duped, everyone. There is a noticeable sense of suspense as everyone watches to see if Chrisean will keep her word to change or revert to her previous behavior. According to one unnamed insider familiar with the matter, "I can't help but feel like it's all just an act. She has already made all these promises before returning to the pandemonium. We've witnessed it much too often. Chrisean shares an emotional letter on her Instagram in reaction to the criticism. "I'm not perfect, but I'm doing my best to grow and change. Thank you to everyone who has faith in me. Just wait and see those who don't. The true me will soon emerge." A few well-known people have expressed their support on the celebrity front. "You got this, Chrisean?" tweeted rapper Megan Thee Stallion. "Continue moving forward." Although he played a significant role in Chrisean's previous drama, Blueface has remained radio silent and has not commented on the subject. Real growth isn't easy, but you have the strength to make it. But one celebrity isn't holding back. Joseline Hernandez, who is well known for being feisty and vocal, takes to Instagram Live to share her opinions. "You can't continue to manipulate people's feelings in this way. We all know how Chrisean gets, but she's out here acting like a saint. We must remember the reality. The industry is buzzing as the interview continues to dominate the news cycle. Insiders are speculating about Chrisean's future, wondering if she would continue on her path of atonement or revert to the mayhem that brought her fame. Everyone agrees that this story is far from done now that her name is back in the news. Chrisean reveals the unexpected bombshell just when everyone believes they have heard everything, following weeks of public outrage and media conjecture. She discloses that her sister's treachery wasn't the only sinister secret. She had been harboring. Chrisean looks straight at the camera and says, "I've been holding on to something in a voice that is almost audible. I haven't told anyone about something, not even my closest pals. And now is the moment to reveal the truth to the world." Feeling as though the room is about to blow up, the interviewer presses her for additional information. Chrisean pauses for a second, obviously overcome by her feelings. At last, she confesses, "It's about my son. I've been fighting for his life for months, in addition to my own. The fact is, I nearly lost him." Everyone in the room gasps. As Chrisean pauses to gather her thoughts, the audience becomes tense. "I was warned that I might lose custody of my son while I was incarcerated." Her voice breaks as she goes on. "I was being watched and social services were involved. And I wasn't sure if I'd ever see him again. They warned me that I would lose everything if I didn't change and demonstrate that I was a decent mother." Her admission astounds the audience. In addition to opposing public opinion, the mother who has been struggling for atonement is also fighting for the freedom to raise a child. "I didn't want to lose my son," she adds, her words becoming more and more significant. "The only thing that has sustained me throughout this entire ordeal is him. I was aware that I would be nothing if I didn't change." The camera pans in as she talks, catching the unadulterated passion in her eyes. "I'm doing this for this reason. I'm embracing purity for this reason. Because I need to show the world and my son that I am a better person. I am capable of being the mother he is due." As the interview comes to a conclusion, Chrisean gets up and wipes away the tears that have finally begun to fall. With a fresh feeling of resolve in her voice, she declares, "I'm not done. The real battle has only just begun." The audience is left in anticipation as the screen fades to darkness. The stakes have never been higher, and the cliffhanger is potent. Chrisean's future is unknown. Will the darkness engulf her, or will she be able to move past her past? This is by no means the end of the drama. One thing is certain, as Chrisean Rock's quest progresses, she is prepared to fight for her son, her future, and her atonement. Will she haunt her? What are your thoughts? Is this merely another phase in Chrisean's erratic life, or is she truly on the road to redemption? Let's begin the conversation by exchanging ideas in the comments section below. How do you feel about her startling admission regarding her son? Is it too late for her, or do you think she can actually change? If you're cheering for Chrisean's return, don't forget to subscribe for more updates and like this video. With Chrisean Rock, there's always more to come, so be sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next exciting update.